Alright, so the next topic is on are you trans enough? And that's interesting because I asked myself the same question. I feel like a lot of FTMs, MTFs, genderqueer people, God, gay, straight, it doesn't matter what you are. I feel like everyone is kind of searching for their place. And it's interesting to me, and I'm going to go ahead and use the same analogy that my therapist used for me, which is a lot of times, and myself especially, it's like being a square peg in a round hole, or a round peg in a square hole, or whatever it is. And sometimes it doesn't always perfectly match, and sometimes transitioning will make you feel like you perfectly match. Sometimes then you'll be a square peg in a square hole, but sometimes that's not always the case, and I know that's definitely not the case for me. And just because I'm not that person that, at the age of 2 knew that, oh, I want to be a boy, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm only going to do manly things, and this is my idea of masculinity, and I'm going to attach myself to, these values and gender roles. Maybe back in the day that was definitely something that was expected and demanded of people, but being in the generation, the time period that we are now and for the future, I would certainly hope that we continue to grow and change and accept one another and know that there doesn't have to be a growth cap. Like, sexuality is fluid. You hear that often enough. You hear about married couples that separate and one finds out they're gay and they didn't know, and another finds himself in love with a male to female woman and he never thought he would ever do that. You just don't know. And gender is just like that to me, I think. Of course, that's something that is, if you take hormones and live a lifestyle, that's definitely a more serious level, I guess you could say. But what is trans enough? Who wrote the rules for what is trans enough? Psychiatrists, therapists, doctors? I guess to a certain degree, but really I feel like just in our own community, we really limit each other and really kind of, maybe not bully, but we set a standard, and sometimes if we think someone doesn't meet that standard, it's automatically like, we'll get out. And it shouldn't be that way. There aren't that many of us. Shouldn't we be sticking together? In my case, you guys, I asked myself that same question. Am I trans enough to take hormones? And what's funny is I searched for that answer and other people. I asked my friend's mother. I talked to my girlfriend, and I talked to friends, and I talked to lesbians, and I talked briefly, to other FTMs, and I watched a whole lot of videos, and I did a whole lot of research, and I went to, a counselor, and I even went to like a psychic medium. Like, it's almost like validation, trying to find that validation. Am I trans enough? It's kind of like when women try to find validation in themselves. Am I womanly enough? Or a man that says, am I man enough? Validation. Wouldn't it be nice if we could be validated for who we are and what we are and what we... I don't know. It's not like we need it. Permission, I guess, but it's not about permission. A lot of times it's just about respect and understanding and openness and compassion and grace and open arms. So, am I trans enough? I think so. I think I'm trans enough. And the thing about it is I'm not the typical trans guy. I'm very much a two-spirited person. I believe that I still very much have that feminine side of me that will always be there, that I don't necessarily shun. I think you find your comfort level along a scale of male and female and, what's in between, and, make your own way. Who's to limit you, really? It's your happiness. And I'm definitely along more of the male side, and because of that, that's where my comfort level is. That's where I think I'll be happiest. And so far, I'm pretty happy. And I shouldn't have to be forced to meet certain conformities and standards in order to, be accepted as a trans person. So to all the critics and the bullies and I don't know, people that just don't understand, which I get that. You don't understand and you're confused, and it's complicated, and sometimes it's overwhelming, and for people that just think, well, that doesn't make sense. There's got to be a structure in order to things, and it's supposed to be this way. I get it. I've been there. Seriously. I used to think that being trans was you're born in the wrong body, and you dated the opposite sex once you changed your sex, and you acted in a certain gender role, because obviously if you change your sex, that must mean that you want to fulfill that 100% stereotypically. But it's not like that. And I get it. I really do. I've definitely come from the place of being like a male basher, straight male basher, when I was like pro-gay, and and then I've been there with even being trans, and learning. I mean, it really is about education, you guys. If there's one thing we can do, is educate each other and educate others. I had no idea that a trans person could still be very much genderqueer. I don't know. It's craziness. And if I can't judge you if you don't get it. I just ask that you take your time and try to understand, that you just ask questions, and that you do so in a nice way, and try to keep an open mind. And if you don't, just, I don't know, reach out if it's really that important. Just, if you don't feel right about it and you don't understand it, that's fine. But don't bash. Try not to judge. Don't be so critical. I'm sure there's a lot of things in your own life that doesn't quite match up, So that's my take on being trans enough. I think it's kind of silly. I mean, it's all about accepting yourself. And that's the bottom line. Accept yourself, no matter what. Alright. I'll see you guys next week.